What's for dinner? We hear that question every day. Claire Tansey's new cookbook, Dinner Uncomplicated, is here to help with easy dinner recipes that are quick to prep, including the sesame ramen salad with chicken and celery that she's making for us today. So here's what you need to follow along. You need some instant ramen. We know you know where to find that. Soy sauce, toasted sesame oil, rice vinegar, tahini, natural peanut butter, honey, ginger, sriracha, rotisserie chicken, and celery. Okay, Claire, you're going to start making that in just a moment, but first, can we talk about the book? Everyone else is freaking out over COVID, and there you are making a cookbook, and the timing couldn't be better because everyone is cooking a gazillion meals a day at home every day, and you come out with this book that would even make someone like me actually venture into the kitchen. So the whole controversy around dinner every day is tough for most families. You went to find out what families are looking for. What did you find out?
Well, I found out that the biggest roadblock that most families face in between a normal day and a delicious homemade dinner is time, that we don't have enough time. And that was totally true before the pandemic, and this book felt like, the right fit for busy families, no matter what was going on. But now that we're living through this pandemic, it's even more important. And I certainly find that I seem to be working longer and harder. My husband's at home, he's working longer and harder. And so all the more we need time crunch recipes. And so when I designed the book, I wanted to kind of address that head on. And this is 100% dinner recipes. There's no bacon, there's no breakfast, it's just all dinner. But the chapters are divided by time, how much time it takes for you to cook. And so the recipe I'm going to make for you right now is from the first chapter, which is the 15-minute chapter.
So let's get into the recipe you're making right now, Claire.
Okay, so sesame ramen with celery and chicken. And yes, I am using ramen. Like, did you live on these when you were in university? Because I know I did.
Absolutely. If it wasn't ramen, it was pasta. It had to be cheap, and I had to be able to get a lot of it.
Well, the good thing is these noodles cook in 3 minutes flat. So all you're going to do is you're going to take that little seasoning packet and forget it ever existed. You're going to take 3 packs of ramen and cook them in boiling water. And I love them because, like I said, 3 minutes. It's the fastest pasta out there. And then you've got this nice, beautiful bowl. And I gotta say, there's something super fun about ramen. They're squiggly, they're woody. I love the way they're kind of chewy. And this is not going to be like some kind of cheap and cheerful university meal, because we're going to take this ramen and make an absolutely incredible, super high-end sauce. So this was inspired by sesame noodles that are a real common staple in New York Chinese cooking and New York Chinese restaurants. And it's kind of spicy and salty and sour. So this is a bit of soy sauce and rice vinegar. And into that, I'm going to add 2 of my favorite secret ingredients, a little bit of good old-fashioned natural peanut butter, and then a little bit of tahini. And I have been loving tahini lately. It is just so yummy. It's that toasted sesame paste. It's creamy. It has a kind of a subtle richness to it. I just love it. I find it really, really useful. So I put those both in there. Start to whisk. Things are starting to look interesting already. I'm going to add a little bit of honey because it needs a little sweetness to balance it out. And then I've got some grated fresh ginger. You could add as much or as little hot sauce as you like. Sriracha would be the place to go. And then a couple of good glugs of sesame oil. So that might seem like a bunch of ingredients, but it's actually probably stuff you already have on hand. And that's it. Now, I'm just going to whisk this into submission. And then I'm going to add it to the ramen. And then comes the second kind of exciting part of this recipe. Because we all know how helpful a rotisserie chicken is, right? Like, you pick up a rotisserie chicken, it's sort of an instant supper. And I thought, well, that's great. Like, we can all do that. We can all take it apart and make it into a sandwich or something. But let's kind of do some recipes that really gussy up that rotisserie chicken and make it even more amazing and special and delicious. So that's what I'm using here, rotisserie chicken. You could also use leftover chicken, you could use tofu, you could use shrimp, but that rotisserie chicken, pick it up on the way home, and you know that you can make something that's not just chicken sandwiches. It's going to be this delicious, delicious sauce. So that goes on here.
Here's the thing, most of us would go out and get the ramen noodles and cook them, and it would be blah. Now, if you mix your sauce together, Claire, it's got so much flavor. This is a meal for grown-ups, and the kids are going to appreciate it too. Am I right?
Oh, so much. And the kids can also pick and choose what they want. Maybe they don't want the hot sauce. Maybe they don't want the celery. It's a great meal to serve deconstructed. Now, I am going to add some celery here because I love a little bit of crunch. And you've seen me do this before, Trace, but I always peel my celery, which people love. It's my #1 party trick, and I'm never going to stop doing it. But if you peel the celery, it makes it a lot easier to eat. So just peel that celery and then slice it up nice and thin. And again, it's using something that you probably already have in the fridge, and it just adds a really delicious crunch. And I think poor celery doesn't get enough attention. I think we should give it a little bit more love. So here it is, all sorts of ingredients that go get a ton of love. Ramen noodles, celery, into a fantastic dinner, and literally it'll take you 15 minutes or less.
That's what makes the cookbook so amazing, because these are easy things. You might have them in the pantry. The good thing about your party trick, Claire, is you don't walk away from the recipe having those stringy things in your teeth. You got to go get the dental floss. So really good. I like your party trick.